Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wellness Day, a podcast coming to you every Wednesday here from the Jahangir Wellness Center. My name is Kavas Jahangir, and here from the GWC studio. Today, I've got the better half of a guest that I've already interviewed. I've got Aarti Ponapa Natekar here. Thank you so much for being here, Aarti. You are someone sent me your profile because we haven't met before.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very long one. And I had no idea where I was going to start with because you were an absolute superstar, particularly as
You're
an
being too
athlete
kind.
and a tennis player in your early days, and now grown that into a societal impact that you all have on the wellness and the activity side. So thank you so much for being here, Aarti. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Absolutely my pleasure, Carl.
So we'll start with that. As I said, I've got a long list of accolades of what you've done in terms of your tennis playing. You've been one of our leading tennis players in the country and so forth. But I would let you take the lead and tell us how it all started for you and where we are today.
Well, I come from a family of athletes.
Yeah.
Both my parents also represented the country. So I think,
In the Asian Games, I believe.
yes,
Also, yeah.
my dad and my mom was holding PT Usha's record for I think over a decade and a half.
Wow.
Before it was, broken by not broken, equal by PT Usha.
Well, what
So,
was
yeah.
the record?
100 meters, the
Okay.
100-meter record. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So, and I think the community I come from, which is the Cougs, I think sport is a big integral part of it. We have a lot of sportsmen coming out.
Right.
Right. I think that was a major influence for me to take up some sport.
Yeah.
The story I'm being told is I was extremely hyper, too much energy. So
That's the
I had
story
to
that
be-
you're being told about yourself.
but by my parents, and apparently just to fend off that energy, they wanted to put me into some sport. The eventual sport was going to be what they did, which was
Right.
athletics. But being too young for athletics, my dad used to play tennis at the club, so he loved the sport of tennis, and so I was introduced to it. And I think, I mean, it was just a transition. You don't really think so much in those days. I think when
Right.
you were younger, a lot of what you do is what, the influence around you or the parents. There was not that kind of exposure that the kids today have, right? With all the information hitting them
Yeah.
from all
Yeah.
sides.
Absolutely.
But to be fair, I think what really changed is the first under 10 nationals that my dad took me for just to experience what it was all about. I lost in the first round to the top seed, but I
Right.
think something about all of that got me hooked.
Yeah.
And after that, touch wood, I mean, you start winning, and then there can be more better motivation to
Right,
move
right.
forward. So I think I would think that's what my journey was all about. So
And then hopefully
in
picking up
tennis.
good habits on the way.
In those days, the exposure it gave us, the travels, India, abroad,
Yeah.
the recognition in your schools, colleges, the newspapers, not made by us, but
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
community
Right,
as such,
absolutely.
made a big difference. Today, things are very different. A lot of it is self-driven publicity, but I think in those days, a lot of it was, the people and the community around you. And
Right.
I think that's also a big motivation. And it gave me an introduction to a world that I would never have been otherwise,
Okay.
exposed to
Right.
the kind of people, all the countries that you got to visit, all of that. So that's also was a big motivating factor
Right.
for us.
And now everyone is talking about, of course, wellness has been around for a long time. We've been doing it for a long time. Everyone is talking about it perhaps more and more now. Looking back, how do you think that the lifestyle that you had, and I suppose you had to start getting into fairly amount of being
Right.
disciplined in your, obviously, in
Right.
your exercise and
Right,
food and so forth, etc., etc.
Yeah.
How do you feel that that's helped you today?
See, definitely in terms of the physical health, today for me, my exercise is my meditation.
yeah.
If the days I don't exercise, I'm
Get a little crazy.
Yes, not little, very crazy. So I think it's just so ingrained because you've been doing it.
Yeah.
It's just become a part of your muscle
Identity.
memory and life, right? But to be honest, when we were playing, things were very different. There was not so much knowledge about
Nutrition and stuff like
yes.
that. Yeah.
But having said that again, because my parents had done it, and things have changed very drastically.
Yeah.
What we thought worked for us nutritionally, today they just discount, right?
Yeah.
But I think from the community I come from, and the kind of lifestyle we lead, like the estates and everything.
Right.
Cougs by general are very physical in nature. They're all outdoors. So I think that also helps. Whether we took up sport professionally or not, it's a very ingrained part of life, right? Playing some kind of sport or being outdoors, and so from that aspect, I think the physical also drives a lot of your mental, is what I feel, because I have noticed today when things are really getting hard for me mentally, and God forbid I don't exercise, and that's happened, right?
Yeah,
Because with work and with life, sometimes you go through those downs, and
yep.
everybody does,
Right.
right? And see, I stopped exercising, and this is only realization over a period of time, right? When I look back and see those periods that I don't exercise for some reason, you don't want to wake up in the mornings, you're just tired all the time, and so on and so forth. It's been, you just get worse and worse into that whole, at least for me.
Yeah.
And for
Me
me,
too.
exercise is something that really gets me going, right? The mornings that I wake up and exercise, I'm definitely on a better high. Even if I've had a terrible day the previous day, it's
Yeah.
always been exercise. I think awareness, because of playing sport, about your body, about the way you're thinking, trying to control your mind, because you're dealing with all kinds of situations, right? You have to, and there's nobody you can rely on the sports field, so you have to rely on yourself.
Yeah.
I think all of these have really helped us, to kind of in this whole, this whole journey of wellness that everybody talks about.
Right.
Having said that, when there were situations that you didn't know where to turn to, it's not like we had people to guide us.
Okay.
The only thing I would say is I had parents who, because they did sport,
gone
they
through it,
understood that journey, they were able to. I've also been parent of a child who's tried to, make a career in professional golf, right?
Okay.
He's gone through his own journey.
Right.
But when he was in those states of down, right, which is part and parcel of a journey, and he just couldn't handle it, we were able to kind of identify that, luckily, and address it, right? Even sometimes, like today, he doesn't play anymore because he just realized one day, which is very common for any professional athlete, that maybe this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
And it's actually good to have that realization.
Exactly. And sometimes it's good because sometimes also we've seen with athletes, they don't know when to stop,
Yeah.
right? So we respected that. The good thing about golf is you can always come back because
A little bit more longevity in
older.
it,
So
yeah.
we said, okay, you take that break, see if you want to do it. But today this was at the age of 18, 19. Today he's 22 and 23, and doesn't seem like he wants to go back. But he loves playing golf.
Okay,
As
yeah.
his, and it's his me time, it's his
Yeah.
recreation.
His meditation.
Yes, exactly. But it's not something that he wants to do professionally, which is also fine by us. And I think accepting that is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having said that, both my kids love playing sport, thankfully, because it's the environment they've been in. My
Probably the genes that they've got.
genes, my husband, my father-in-law, the whole family, we talk about sport, we eat, breathe, sleep sport. Our
Yeah.
business is sport now.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, we'll come to that in a second.
Yes. But my boys also love music. And music was also a big part of our journey because that was the only thing that kept you going in those days, right? You're out playing professionally, you're dealing with a lot of situations. Music and reading was a big part of our downtime, also. So it's not just, I would say,
Just a sport
Just
or
a
anything
sport,
like that.
no?
And I completely agree with that because I'm also big
Yes.
on music, and
yes.
I'd say that movement and exercise has probably become my identity in the last 4 to 5 years, I'd say. But if I want to get that mental reset, it's always music for me. So it's like whatever it is for someone, it's that mind aspect is just so important.
Yeah.
So what do you do today then to stay fit on the physical side and then on the mental side?
Yeah, so changed a lot in terms of the way I exercise. My husband loves playing a sport. That was
Right.
his better way of getting his fitness. I need it, like I said, it's for me, it's meditation. So I used to love running. I would, because I just wanted to be within myself,
Yeah, yeah.
right? There's so much other stimulus all the time. So I like being in my own space. So for me, today it's not running, but my exercise is my own. I have people who draw up my programs, but I want to be left alone and just do my thing, whatever it is. It's just changed because as you get older, physically also you start, a lot of the effects and wear and tear of playing sports, professional sports in those days,
Right.
where
Yeah.
there was no real scientific knowledge. You start lifting weights at 12, blah, blah, blah. So you
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah.
you've done your body a lot of harm. So
Not
those
really
effects-
focused on recovery and stuff.
Yes. So those effects you feel today. So my kind of exercise, I've stopped weights, I've stopped running for For me, 8-10 kilometers every day was a thing. I still love it, but I had to change all of that. And I think COVID, and I think it was a good thing because COVID made us change that. We realized shorter bursts of exercise, all of that is helping better now. And no weights, no body weight exercises. Those things are working well. So,
Right, right. Incredible. Well, coming to what you do, because you've taken what you do on a personal level and expanded that
yes.
to a society level, which I think is fantastic. Y'all have got the World Pickleball League that both your husband and you have started and is just exploded. So tell us a little bit more about that and where we are with it now.
So to be fair, we took this journey on with sport and everything to do with sport after we retired because we had no choice, right? In those days, either you got employed by one of the government organizations or, people, unless you studied and moved on, you would never be employed into a company, right?
Yeah.
Having said that, we're both graduates, but that's about it. So very
Right.
basic education in India, as you know.
Yeah.
But I think the exposure we had, I think the people we were allowed to, or we were lucky enough to interact with, also kind of open our minds to a lot of other opportunities. And one thing you learn is fluidity, right? You see opportunity, you take it, and I think that also has got a little bit to do with our sporting career. And both Gaurav and I, had to take on that journey because Gaurav was working with IMG and he realized that he did not want to do something like that. He never wanted to work for someone and he wanted to be his own boss, for the lack of word. So initially I started and it just was a journey that we had to do together. Because
But he's married to you, so I'm sure you're the actual boss.
well, yes. Don't say that. Yes. At home, yes. But to say that, I think both of us have our strengths.
Yeah, of
and
course.
we've been lucky enough to realize that after enough of turmoil. And I think we stick to that and we try and play by our strengths.
That's nice, yeah.
I also think after a point of time, you work so hard to build something, then you don't want petty
Absolutely,
things to derail that. I think that's worked for us. With regards to our journey has always been in sport has been, in business has been with regard to sport. The World Pickleball League is a relatively new baby, started 3 years ago. We finished 2 seasons, and it's truly a world in the sense it's a global.
It's fantastic, yeah.
People, when a lot of the word world is used very
That's true.
loosely, but ours is truly a global league. We had participants from 25 countries in our draft last year, which was quite big, I think, for a sport like pickleball. So
And I love how the sport is exploded, perhaps less from the technical aspect or, I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure there are technical aspects to it, but how it's exploded for everyone to start
it's
playing.
very community sport.
That's the word I was going to say.
And I think COVID has made people realize
The need for it.
the need for it. And I think the isolation those 2 years have not helped at so many levels. So I think these community driven events and sports are helping a lot. Definitely positive. And that was the biggest draw for us. Because we realized how simple this game was in terms of picking up. It's not an easy sport to master.
Exactly.
If you attend our next event, you will realize that.
Right.
But it's definitely an easy sport to pick up. And a lot of people want to play sport. I think it's just that they're just hindered by, they just feel like an ability like tennis.
Higher barrier to entry.
Exactly. And the abilities, right? Because for a game like tennis, you need a certain ability
Yeah,
physically
yeah.
to be able to. Whereas pickleball is easier to start.
I've seen people pick it up in 20 minutes.
Exactly. That's the beauty of pickleball, I think. So that was what drew us to it at one level. And I think this is a sport that a lot of people can actually engage in. People are realizing they need this. They need to get out. India, unfortunately, is a country that people need to get out, to get a little more active in whatever form they can do. I think, and these were things that ticked off a lot of those boxes for us.
Yeah, and it's creating so many spaces for people to actually do that too.
Yes. And I think that was a big draw to start with.
Right.
It's also a new sport, so not encumbered by, years and years of rules, regulations, so we can play around with the format without breaking into its core. So, I think a lot of elements work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the mental aspect of it is like
Exactly, because of the communicative
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. The social aspect of it is really.
The social aspect, yes.
And then y'all have really taken that forward and bringing that to the fore, which I think is.
We're trying a bit.
Yeah. No, because I like that. It's not just, as you said, it's not just the sport or for the technical aspect of how fast you can hit the shot or go down the line that way. But it's what you're subtly doing is you're promoting community, you're promoting
Which we are actually,
Yeah.
because between season 1 and season 2, we did 47 events.
Wow.
Smaller events, engagements, to right from clinics for people who never tried the sport and would like to get introduced to it, to tournaments, one-day tournaments for, right from beginners to intermediate to a more professional, large format, 5-day events and stuff. So we're hoping to continue and only grow that, get more and more people out, to play.
Absolutely, and that's what we're all here
Yeah,
for, and
yeah.
fully support that, and would only love to see that grow. Well, Aarti, it's been fantastic talking to you,
Thank you.
especially from your own personal journey of sport and how that's translated to your mental well-being, and then how that's expanded professionally to society level. So I think it's really commendable to what you've done and applied that, and being able to apply that to so many people around you, and now globally, as we said. So thank you so much for what you do, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Kawas. I've enjoyed this interview. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Absolute
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. Thank you all. And before you leave, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button here at the bottom. And any comments that you do have, please do share that as well. And we will see you all next week. Thank you.